If I had timed it a little better, this would have been the Halloween episode, but my timing is terrible. Such is life. However, in this very ominous episode of Just Joshing, it's only important that Janie Taylor comes back for some more chaos and mayhem. Right?
Yes.
Her background's much nicer. Her background's much nicer than mine, though. I gotta say.
This is the house.
Yes.
So.
Well, we both. Although I will say, my current scenery is much nicer than yours, probably outside.
I mean, I've got the New Hampshire woods out there, so
I got mountains. I got lots and lots of mountains out there. Like literally,
okay.
Yeah. I trust me. When you're next door and you literally see the Three Sisters Mountains in Canmore, literally like down the street from you.
Yep.
It's still kind of surreal, to be perfectly honest.
Well, I'm at the base of the White Mountains, so yes.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Like, it's like, yeah, it's like, at the very least, it's a competition, but in the house, you win. Like, hands down, that victory is yours, right?
Yes, the nice stone fireplace is really good, and the metal art from Alaska.
It's like, I'm not jealous at all. Listen, if I break down and start crying, okay, okay. Yeah, I'm not going to blame you, but I'm just saying. No, it's all good. It's all good. How you been?
I've been pretty good. Writing an awful lot. I had a release Monday this week.
Congratulations.
I've been what day it is.
I've been in deadline hell, but like figuring out the new assignment and figuring out how to do it the best way has been pretty much my life for the last 2 weeks. Like,
yeah,
I think I know what I'm doing.
That's scary though.
No, see, here's the thing. Because of what I've learned and how I've done things, because of how I learned and what I've done things, I can actually do this now. I can offer video services because I have the tools and and I actually have. I had to refresh myself. I've done a lot of video stuff when I was younger. So it's like, okay, I remember how to do this shit. How do I do this shit? Okay, right. And
I never did computer editing. I had big machines that we did editing at the television station.
Oh, good God. That
tape.
Oh no, that's oh God. No, you look at so I have a secret little fascination with design. I love design. I always look at how a book's put together or how a media product's put together. Any of them. Doesn't matter what it is. And one of the things that amazes me about like the old school stuff is how to design something really, really good. Like a lot of the rules we have comes from those days of glue and tape and cutting, and because it's like, motherfucker, we gotta do this right. Because I don't because this is hard. Like we screw this up here. It's hard. Consequently, today I can screw up big time, and there's a magical button that will like
undo. It's called undo. Yes.
You have that luxury today where it's like, I've fucked up. Control Z.
Yes. That's nice. That's so nice.
Now, that would tend to make me. Now, I tend to believe then, as a result of this, right, that you're probably a lot more. You had to be a lot more competent quickly then. I mean, because if you screwed up then, it was like that cost you hours, maybe days of work.
Oh, yeah.
Here, it could still cost you hours. Like last night, I ended up going till about 3:00 in the morning. I started at like 2:00 in the afternoon. I only took a break. I only took a break to stream another podcast, like release my podcast stuff for the day. And besides that, that's all I was doing yesterday. It's like, okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? I took a nap, got up. How do I do this? How do I do that? I think I have a cut that's okay. Send it to my partner in crime. Took her some of her suggestions to heart. Because it's always, and then it just was one of those things. And so last night, around 1:00 in the morning, I realized there was a fundamental flaw with what we filmed. I can't fix it. It wasn't even my fault it was just, it is my fault in the sense that we were under a bit of a crunch.
Crunch time.
Yeah, we were under a bit of a crunch, and I should have done a little bit more prep prior to it to mitigate that. That all said, I mean, I was able to do everything that really we needed to do too. Like I got it all down. So it's now there's just one thing, and then I can actually not be quite so overt about what I'm talking about, and I can actually go into the process of what I'm doing. And it's like, yeah, but no, I can make Kickstarter videos now. That's actually, I got it to the point where I think I can competently do it, which
That's
is like
awesome.
that's scary. I have a service I can offer now because we're in the Kickstarter era big time, right? So
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
but
I used to work at a television station, so that
oh,
was my first job out of college.
oh
I was
God.
I was a film editor, so I took the dirty words out of the films and the sex scenes out of the.
I
It was
I, I,
network TV, so
I want to give you a hug. That sounds like a very weird kind of hell. I mean, fun. It can be a
actually,
lot of fun, but
I mean, it was fun. It was great for a post-college job before I, went into the insurance world, which is funded my life, but it's not exactly, exciting. But I used to watch 6 to 8 movies a day.
that's that's a great job. I'm
Yep.
jealous, actually.
And you had to cut it for time, you had to cut it for
Oh,
content that couldn't go, and you had to make sure all the list of swears that couldn't be said after 8 o'clock were not in the ones for after 8 o'clock, and what could be said earlier.
oh, good God.
It
Well,
was fun.
well. So for people wondering, video editing is, I mean, what she was doing there, what I'm doing is similar. We look for
Oh,
parts of time,
yes.
like a big
From
part
what?
of it.
Yeah.
A big part of video editing is literally knowing when to cut. Like that's
Hmm.
really what it comes down to. Now there are some limitations. Like there's tiny, like you can only go like between certain milliseconds, and you're gonna kind
Yeah.
of have to deal with it. And
Right.
that's just the way it is. Like there's no such thing as a perfect cut that way. But that's big. Like that's always been a part. Like it's one of those fundamental things. Time is always
Yeah.
going to be a measuring stick. So
And I was also in the newsroom for a while too, so I was, shoved the microphone in front of people. I was never on camera because I always froze. But when I had the microphone asking questions,
see, you don't strike me as someone that was that that self conscious. Is that something you outgrew, or is just like
yeah, I outgrew it because in college when I went for communications, radio and television broadcasting. So in college, the first with the radio broadcast, I went in the room and I was all ready for this. The on-air light went on and I froze. I couldn't speak. It was just awful. and up until recently, the last 5 years, when I went on with Katie and I went on a television show in Connecticut, I had no issues then because I think I got old enough to say, who cares? If I screw up what I say, who cares? If I stumble on words, it's just like it might be youth versus where I am.
so so for me, right? So for me, there was a when I was 13, I was 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
So imagine me like in like tiny short shorts and like an oversized t-shirt because I'm a 12-year-old scrawny whatever.
Yeah.
Go up to the front of a class to do a presentation, and next thing you know, just like nature decided to take its own course, and suddenly I was saluting the flag for everybody to see. Right, as bad as that moment was, it kind of killed my fear, because really, I mean, there's only like literally one or two things worse than that could absolutely happen to you.
Yeah.
And even though it took me years to live down, and I mean years, right? It wasn't that bad. Like it was one of those things that just life throws these weird little things at you, and you're just like, you just gotta figure out how to roll this shit, right?
Right, exactly. You just have to let go, and it's like people who come on spilling ink that have never been on shows before. They're like so nervous, and it's just like just talk, just act like we're we're friends just having a conversation over a cup of coffee. It's that easy. And don't worry about mostly of what you say, because sometimes you can offend people.
Well,
But
you gotta live with that, right? Like
right.
there's a point in every there's a point you gotta kind of go like, look, I'm not going out of my way to try and piss you off.
Right.
That's my rule. I'm not going to go out of my way to do it. And as long as I don't go out of my way to do it, I think I'm okay. Now, it doesn't mean I'm perfect. It doesn't mean I can't learn. It doesn't mean I can't make mistakes. But
Mm-hmm.
at least I'm coming. If I am ignorant of something,
Mm-hmm.
right? That ignorance will be. How do I put this? The ignorance will be very innocent. It's like I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't know better, and that is
Right.
always forgivable. I don't care who you are, right? But that's one kind of ignorance. The other kind of ignorance is just to be a complete asshole about something. I don't care about what I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a different animal. But we all don't
Absolutely.
know. We all don't. I don't know everything. I mean, contrary, I know my head's really big. I know you've been on the show before. Huge head
Yep.
here. But there just comes a point where you just realize that I'm not going to make everybody happy.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, it's not my job to make everybody happy. What's my job is to be true to myself. The rest of it is going to either work or it's not. But I'm going to, like, be accountable for what I do, be truthful to what I do, and let
Mm-hmm.
everything else fall where it's going to fall, because that's it. I mean, I'm going to be wrong about a bunch of shit when I'm older. I'm going to
Right.
be my ideas are going to be very antiquated. Like there's going to come a point in my life where I'm like, wow, I'm the backwards yokel in this tier town. And I mean, I get to look forward to that when I'm like 60, 70, but I won't give a shit at that point. I'll be bungee jumping out of cliffs and probably chasing women half my age because I don't really have anything else good to do. But I mean, that's me. I'm just that kind of guy. I just realized that, you know what, I'm not on this earth to make everybody else happy. I'm on
Mm-hmm.
this earth to live my life however I see fit. I put in my motivation today. At the end of the day, we do exactly what we want to do.
Yep.
And the only real question we have is, do our wants control us, or do we control our wants? And again,
Right.
like I said, that doesn't mean I go out of my way to be a dick. I don't. That's a point. That's pointless too. That's a waste of energy. But I
Yeah.
also realize that
Being
go.
afraid to put yourself out there, that's something that people should overcome, because it's always good to put yourself out there and speak publicly, or speak in front of people and not really worry about it. I mean, I was on a panel once for a writers conference I was in, and it was the first time I was on a panel, and I was frightened.
Oh yeah.
I'm so frightened. But and before I went up, I asked one of the agents that was there. I said, "Do you any advice?" She goes, "I don't know. I take Valium before I go up there." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "All right,
I want the
good.
name of that. You know what?
Okay."
You don't put this on the air, but I am very curious who that agent was, because that would be that I would first off I like get them come on my show afterwards. Like, listen, I heard you had Valiant Adventures from so and no, I wouldn't do that.
But
But
yeah, and my subject, I was not alone. I had three other authors with me, and we were talking about sex in novels. Yes.
so the very first panel I ever did
Yeah.
was, so I had Mark Leslie,
Yep.
which is a hell of a Brandy Ackerley. I'm still friends with all these people, by the way.
Mhm.
M. Jane Collette was the moderator. I don't know if you know who M. Jane Collette is, but she's a romance author, right?
Okay.
Very, very. So I have a romance author who is probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. I had Mark
Yeah.
Leslie, who is one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet, and I had
Hmm.
Randy Ackerley. So I was like, again, it's one of those like those kind of like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, why am I here on top of everything else, right? And
Hmm.
but it's the thing is, what you realize when you start putting yourself out there is you're not really that different than anybody else that's out there. It's just you have to your job, again, the job we have when we're doing shows like this is to find connections here and there, right? And that's the real thing. It's like, hey, I'm out there and I'm awesome. And it's not, and saying it in a way that doesn't sound like an egocentric. Like, say, I got a big head. I got no problem saying all that stuff because But I actually, truth be told, I actually gave an author friend who's not comfortable talking in front. I gave her a Macho Man Randy Savage promo to look at because as a homework assignment.
Yes.
Because yes, I admit I have an unnatural love of the Macho Man's old like style promos. The one I chose was the Cream Rises to the Top because it's the most ridiculous thing I could find. Right? It was just, but this is a dude that sold tickets to millions of people around the world to come see him.
Right.
And all he did was he was such a unique. He stood out. He made himself stand out as much as he could, and he was true to himself. When you really break everything he did down, that's what he did. And when I look at now, when I look and the people that really truly succeed in any industry, doesn't matter what it is, are the people that can do that, stand out in some way, right? And connect with people. If you can do that, you're going to go far in any industry you choose to go into.
Right. I mean, I went like sideways because I started in radio and television communications, and I was hoping to get into Hollywood, write, direct, and produce movies, but I went into insurance. And now I'm a business analyst and a broker dealer, so and have been for like 20 some years. So at least 20.
So maybe a slightly saner career. Like Hollywood legit scares me. Like it's just like what this is like. It's.
Well, I wanted to write, direct, and produce movies, but
why not? Well, nothing stopping you now.
I'm in New Hampshire. I like it here.
So you don't
have to. Hollywood now legit scares me.
Well. But I mean, this is the wonderful thing about today. Like, look, I have an obnoxious green screen behind me, right? So if I wanted to, I could take this and somewhere down the line edit my part of the thing, and I can have like a green screen of flowers just blooming, or birds flying, or volume,
or the snowy mountains.
Or snowy mountains, or volume-induced flies, right? Or so whatever I want, right? And everybody looking at me with that laugh is like, "What the fuck?" Like, I don't know. Just like my head goes to weird places. It just does. But the thing is, you could make a movie in New Hampshire now if you wanted to.
Probably.
If you wanted to. Now, if you don't want to, that's fine.
I mean, I'd love to see my books into movies, but I'm like, I'd rather write than put the time in to try to do that because I've been out of the industry so long that I probably don't know the up to date, stuff that's needed.
Okay, so we'll move on past this. I just gotta ask one question. Like again, we're gonna go back to the thing you want to do, right? More than anything else. If we're being honest, right, it's more along the lines of the fact that at this point, if I were just to make a ascertain a guess, you like where your life is. You don't really feel that. You don't really feel the need to make any. And this is okay too. Like you've done all the chances you really want to take, at least for now, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think like, because if we're being really honest here, like you're an insurance broker, finding out rules and how to bend them / break them is kind of your thing too. So I mean, it's not exactly like, and I say that with all all respect, but I mean, let's be honest, right? People insurance people, legal people. It's all about how to. They're broker. It's about gaming the system. Like this is going to sound very criminal to some people, but it's the truth. It's.
I'm a compliance officer, so it's gaming the system is not okay.
No, it's not. But I'm not saying.
But I know how to stop it.
Yes, but that's your job. But again, you have to understand how to game a system in order to stop it.
In order to stop it.
Yeah, that's it. All right, and that's also why, folks, some loopholes have been there for literally decades. So it's not that they don't know that these rules aren't there. It's
Mhm.
they made it like, again, it's always a smart idea to give people a place to quote unquote then bend them just a little bit, because at least if you give them a space to do it, you'll know
Mhm.
where they are. And that's
Yeah.
actually that's and that sounds and that might sound incredibly cynical to those people out there, but no, it's actually smart. Don't fight human nature. Give them a place where it's actually allowed to express itself,
Mhm.
and everybody wins. Because if someone goes too far, you already know where to look. And if someone doesn't go really that far, because not everything's worth your time either, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes the bending the rule could be as simple as, somebody brought an extra thing of water. I'm not saying it's that's exactly like a gaming system, but it's like,
Mhm.
are you gonna give a shit about that? Probably not.
No.
It's
Mm.
like, water here, bud.
Yep.
But that's that. And again, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying gaming systems is wrong, but let's be honest, that is the business of legal systems and to some degree insurance companies too, because
Mhm.
you need to know how your system works in order to figure out how your system can be messed with. That's just the way it
Yeah, you,
is.
you need to know how to break it,
Yeah.
which from a business analysis standpoint, I help build it, build things in the system realm of support. But I also know how to break it and how to challenge it. So, it's just like constructing a story.
Mhm.
You have all the pieces and you need know how it's put together. And then you have to be able to poke holes in it to make sure it's sound.
Yeah, and it's okay if there's little holes. It's just when
Right.
they're just giant gaping. I really
Like,
think we're
where
on.
is that?
It's like
Yeah.
it's like expectations is a big thing about story, how you tell a story, right? And it's like, okay, I don't mind if you take me in an unexpected direction, but I have to be led. Like we all have to be led there. It has to tangibly be there in some way, or it
Yep.
sucks. Or it
Yes.
sucks.
Yes.
Hi, Deus Ex Machina. I didn't know there was a God in the machine. It's like, well, yeah, we hinted at it. No, 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 you actually did not. You just went there because you ran out of good ideas.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Don't tell them. Yes. I yeah. I finished my third book in the Dragon series recently, and I sent it to my beta reader, and I got the best email back. Have you had Rebecca Jonesy on the show?
no, she hasn't shown up yet. I would love to have her.
Ah.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love to have her. I'd love to have her. Actually, she's someone. No, it's amazing. Like this many episodes in, and I still haven't talked to everybody yet. I don't think I ever will, and that's kind of part of the fun. So
Yeah, she wrote brilliantly written and wrapped up. And I had never gotten that from her before. I'm like, oh, I got a brilliantly written. I
so
want to
my
talk about a head growing, Meg.
big head. I got a
That
big
was
head right
just
now.
so awesome.
Then life does like then finds your equivalent to sideshow Bob hitting the rake right afterwards. Like yes, thunk. Okay, I
Yep,
just okay.
exactly. And it's like, okay, now that I'm done with the series, now what? What do I do now?
You drink and you fish a little bit, and then somewhere along the
Well,
way, an idea will come to your head, and you're like, I'll write another one.
I got an ARC book, advanced reader copybook from an author that I've been waiting for her fourth book, and I got into the ARC readers. So I'm like, yay! So that came today. I kind of like did the Kevin McDowell store run through the house like this when I got that. It was
That's
so
awesome.
funny.
That's awesome. No,
Yes.
I've been sending my next release out to some people for beta reading. I haven't heard a ton back, but I one of them's like, okay, this is like because it's epic poetry, so it's not like something people normally are going to read. One person goes,
Mhm.
I don't normally read this, but you got me. Like right here, I was in
Yep.
the whole way, baby. This was fun,
That's
right?
good. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's a point, so, and I knew exactly, like I said, I knew exactly what I was doing, kind of almost. almost.
Mhm.
Some of the shit I made some of this shit up as I go. That's the whole of my secret. Don't tell anybody.
Right.
Um, but well, you always like when you build a story, like you have like it's. I always have an idea of kind of where it's going to end and where it's going to like and
Right.
where it goes from here. And so I really enjoyed telling it, but I always give myself wiggle room for like cool things that make sense to the story, right? That right, and so my villain, so I like the opponent for Alice in my story was Jason of the Argonauts. So it made sense to structure the story along some of the lines of the story, not only Jason, but any of the stories that tie to him in some way or another. Then add like the absurdity of croquet because that's so totally a Wonderland thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So and that's what we did. Like we played like it was a and like I said, it's Alice and Greek myths surprisingly go very well together. So when you're getting responses like I really love this, I really love the emotional investment. I had another author go to me that I'm waiting to give her. I gave her about how I was about 2/3 of the way through, and I gave it to them. They're like, "Hey, you realize you have this flaw here?" It's like, "Yep, that's on purpose." Right? It's like I know where the character growth needs to be with my characters, so it's just kind of one of those things where, and yeah, like so it's like wow, the story I pretty much envisioned in my head, and this is where I'm going. It's
Mhm.
being translated pretty much
Mhm.
what I see. So
That's good.
yeah, that's what you want, right? Like if your people can see what you're doing, then you're on something or onto something. I'll let you decide which is which there.
Right.
Yeah.
I was surprised that I got that back from her because I struggled with this book because I had periods of time where the character is alone, and I had to create the tension and things like that in it. And I was just so worried that I hadn't done a good job of that. But apparently I did a good job. So,
That's
you
awesome.
know, yeah, yeah. It was just like, okay, how do you make someone on their own? It's sort of like Castaway. Castaway, most of that movie, the character's on the island alone.
Mhm. But so the way
The
you do it,
development of the character, yeah.
well, not just the development of the character, it's just so the interesting things in my life, like when I've been on my own, like truly on my own, one of the things I've kind of come face to face with was the fact that I'm this is about me.
Mhm.
Like there's a freedom you can't run when you're on your own, like and you're in these really tense moments. You can't run and hide from life,
Right.
right? You just can't. Like there's nowhere to
It just
go.
barrels down on you.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go.
Mhm.
So you find out who you are, and
Mhm.
that's a very I mean it can be a very frightening thing too, but it's also a very liberating thing too because you in those moments you in real life as well as in good stories you realize that a lot of what goes on in the world really doesn't matter what
Mhm.
like most of the stuff that happens in the world really doesn't impact you that much, right? Really doesn't. Most of it. Some of it does. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
great. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes it sucks.
Yep.
But but
We've had offline conversations about some of the things, but yeah.
yeah. And I know I almost get it. Like I get the feeling we're kind of and we're both relatively copacetic about most of the things we've talked about. But
Mhm.
um, that all said, right? For the most part, there really are no rules to this game. It's
Mhm.
who do you want to be,
Mhm.
and you will become that. So yeah, and it's about the prices you're willing to pay to become that. It's
Right.
also right. I mean, that's a big part of it too. Like growing up, like this growing up shit. Really, what it comes down to is, can you look at your own bullshit in the face and say,
Right.
"I got
Yeah.
this,"
Say
or
bull. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Call it.
yeah. It's just that's what it is. Like we're all afraid of something. And
Mhm.
that's the honest. Like if we're being very honest, we're all afraid of something.
Mhm.
So often in life, our fears are the doorways to our freedoms. It's when
Mhm.
we make the effort to change those things that we need to work on. Case in
Mhm.
point, like a very common fear of death,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of us are
We're all
scared
gonna
that
die.
that's true. No,
We're all gonna
but
die.
oh,
It's
absolutely,
like,
absolutely. But the thought of what happens after terrifies people, right? It's a legitimate, honest question, right? And also, it's like, and it adds like your mortality, like the weight of that mortality adds some legitimate questions, right? To how you want to live, where you want to go, what you want to do. All of this is true. However, right? Again, I said it, we're all going to die anyway. It doesn't matter what we feel about it. But that acceptance of that, all of a sudden, that fear is no longer the same fear. You look at it now
right.
in a different light. And life, I think, for most of us is about, those things that we have that hold us back. And often it's our fears, it's our, like, just the things we don't want to face, the things that are uncomfortable. I wouldn't say fear is the right word. Things that make us uncomfortable are
Yes,
the
because it's like the whole dieting thing. You want to lose the weight, but you love the food. So you don't want to deprive yourself, but you want to lose the weight. It's like a vicious circle. It's almost,
yeah.
self-defeating. But
You got
you
to make a
still have
choice.
to exercise. You have to eat right. And, you have to keep your body fueled right in order to, move forward in life and bring the best you to the table that you can.
It's a, it's not like impossible. It's not like the most difficult thing in the world, but you got to be very honest about it.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
just that's
as you get older, it's also harder. When I was younger, I could drop things, very quickly. But now that I've hit the
oh
over
well
50 crowd,
well it's a combination. So it's a combination of things as you get older. Because I just turned 40,
okay,
so I'm still at that age
you're
where
still a
I can
baby
still.
though.
Everybody says that, I don't know, right? You're still a baby, kind of, right? But here's the thing, right? I mean, I feel this some days. I like who I am. Like there's another aspect. Like, we're never going to fix everything. That's a
Mhm,
bit like one of the things about getting older is that you recognize that there are just some things about yourself that are never going to change. And
mhm,
that's okay. That actually is fine,
mhm.
right? That doesn't mean you can't still make little changes. But now that's work. This ain't gonna change anyway. So why the fuck should I? Right? And that's a very That's a right, that's honest, right? Right, it's an honest
Yeah,
feeling, right? And also, like, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, no one can say how long we're gonna live for sure, but you're
mhm.
50, more life behind you probably than in front of you at this point, right? Not just
Maybe,
yeah, maybe. I mean,
maybe.
you're at that tipping point, right? You're at that
Right,
tipping point.
right.
So you're like, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? And it's like, well, I can keep doing what I know has worked for me up until this point, even though that might change. And that's something that I think that's where old people really, really struggle, is recognizing when, okay, this shit that worked for me when I was younger,
Doesn't
it doesn't work. But
right.
I like this
Or my
shit.
body doesn't want to do it.
Yes. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So like there's a bit of that. So there's a bit of that too. But I also think I this is the thing. I think when you get to a certain, and I just realized this, I even now at 40, there are things about me that ain't going to change. Either like that is that's just the way it is. Yes, folks,
Mhm.
I used ain't because I'm sophisticated and shit. But but
You
the
ain't
thing
wrong
is,
there.
it's all good. Like I said, I'm openly free and openly don't like. I think I like my favorite thing about myself is honestly is just I'm free to be who I am. I don't worry about it. All right. Either people will get it or they won't. I mean, at least they know it's real with me, or at least as real as I possibly can be. Anyway,
Mhm.
um, but I just recognize like there's going to be pieces of me that I'm going to like that I'm going to keep. What I just have to be consciously aware of as I get older is I can't do that with everything.
Yeah.
But I'm probably going to
Mhm.
keep one or two things. Like, for example, I'm never giving up ice cream. fuck that shit.
I know that ice cream is my downfall. that is the thing that I can be really good all day, and then right after dinner I'm like, I gotta have that ice cream.
And honestly, at this point in life, who the fuck cares? You're a grown ass woman, you do what you want, right? But that's it, right?
Yeah, the random husband walks by.
My random husband, I'm waving. But no, I waved.
He's in the other room.
Yeah.
He's on the other side of that window.
Yes. He's like, it's like she's laughing a lot. I'm sure she's got a good reason, and that's it. I'm sure that's what you'll tell her. I say all this like that because when you get right down to it, like when you truly get right down to everything, it's the fact that we just recognize it. Like if you're willing to look at the consequences of your actions honestly, then there's really nothing that you can't do in this life. You will pay for everything. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
But if you are willing to pay for it, and I think when you get older, you're a lot more conscious of that than you are when you're younger. When you're younger, you're just like, I'm just doing this because this feels good. And you're not really sitting there going, well, why are you doing this? Because, I mean, some of what you're doing is, and this part growing up too, is like, some of what you're doing is completely stupid. It's like, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But now we're conscious that we're doing it.
And I'm okay with that sometimes. Like, you know what? This is the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Life experiences, right?
Well, it's not just life experiences. Just sometimes it's just you just want a very simple thing, and you're willing to pay that price. So that's all there is to it. And again, it does. Again, right or wrong is a very relative term for a lot of people, because everybody has a different definition. But when you get right down to it, if you can be honest about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and you can live with yourself, there's really nothing anyone can say. Yeah.
Being able to look at yourself in the mirror and say you're okay.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. That's it. Like
there's not. You need to adjust this, and then you'll be okay. Sometimes you have to do that too.
Oh, that's life. That's life. That's totally life.
Check and adjust.
Yes. Well, yeah. That's it. That's it. It never stops. And that's the thing. Life's relentless. Life is absolutely relentless. And as you get older, and that's the thing. You're not as relentless as when you're older. You're kind of like, I'm good. And sometimes that's totally fine. Sometimes it's not so totally fine. And I think that's the thing. I think there's and that's the other thing. Your patience goes to complete shit too. The older you get, just the more your patience goes to complete shit.
I have no patience for stupidity now. Zero patience for it.
Well, yeah, okay. So I'm in a weird spot there. It depends on why you're stupid, right? That's no, because again, going back to something I said earlier, innocence, right? Innocence makes it a lot more forgivable. It's when someone's being deliberately dumb, or where I have no patience anymore. It's if someone just automatically expects me to cooperate. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I don't need to play by your rules. I never had to play by your rules. Right. So if you ask me, I might be willing to do this.
You'll consider.
But yeah.
No, there's just, I mean, at work, I know I lately have been very, very short fused on stupid decisions. I'll put it that way. And in life in general, I think it's more, what I consider stupid, especially if I'm driving. Every other driver is stupid.
Yes.
because but there are some like rotaries. Do you have rotaries up there?
Yes.
Yes. We have them in New Hampshire. And twice this summer, we were driving home and got into the road behind somebody who wanted to turn left in the rotary. No, it's a right turn around. Right? It was just like, do they not get rotaries? They're from New Hampshire. Do they not get this?
See, I look at
That's the kind of stupidity I can't deal with. Lack of common sense.
Oh God, yes.
Yes.
So the worst drivers in the country that I've been in, I've been to LA, I've been to Detroit, I've been to Chicago.
Okay.
Phoenix is the worst I've ever seen.
You've never been to Rhode Island.
I have not. No, I have not. I have not been to Rhode Island. However, this is just a pedestrian walking the sidewalk. Okay, so this is my all-time. The weirdest car accident I've ever seen happened in Phoenix, Arizona. Here's the thing I've noticed. Drivers do not look both ways. They'll look one way. They'll look one way at best, and then they'll turn. So this was on a main road. This is like an outlet to, like, there's two malls, one going one way, one going the other way. Both went to turn left. Neither looked. They actually went head to head into each other. It was, again, you're turning left, so it's not like a full speed collision.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, it was avoidable if one person had just looked, right? Just one. And I literally, I'm literally on. I'll tell you the road. I'm on Camelback Road, okay. And I literally, we just passed the intersection there, right near what's the road there? I can't remember this. It's been a long time. It doesn't really matter. You get across an expressway there, and there's like these two like strip malls, and there's a light, right? Well, here's the deal. None of them looked. So when they both went left, they just went right into each other. And I watched this happen on the sidewalk. I couldn't believe what I saw. Because I literally I was close enough to see, but neither, really what it came down to is that neither driver looked. Neither of them. Right? If one of them had, they'd have been fine. Because that one was, nope, you get to go first. It ain't worth it, right? Nope. Thunk. They got out of the car. They swore at each other. It was funny as fuck to watch. Right? I kept going because really I didn't want to have to answer. Like, whose fault was this? Actually, it's both of their faults. They were both idiots. Neither of them looked. That's literally what it was, right? I have never seen anything like that anywhere else in my life. Anywhere else. Like, it was a special. I lived in Vancouver, Canada. I've seen Toronto's traffic. There are some like stupid drivers. It's a pretty universal concept.
Yes.
But I've never seen like an inability to look turning left in my life like that ever.
Yeah. My son was hit by a car. He was in a crosswalk that took a left turn, and that driver had a red light. So they ran a red light, took a left turn, and clipped him. That was his freshman year in college. So his freshman year in college was like not okay for him. But
so I got glancing blowed by a driver actually in Windsor, Ontario about like 8 months ago.
Well, they sped away too.
Well, it was impossible. It was impossible in my case for them to speed away. I actually broke their they hit me. No, I didn't break their light. I broke their side mirror because they just glanced at me. So all of a sudden I'm walking down. I'm now the street I'm walking on. There's no sidewalk, so I'm kind of taking. But I'm in the light, so you can see me.
Yep.
So I'm walking, minding my own business. Thunk, like around my left side. Like, wow, what the fuck was that? And then this car just gets front, stops, looks at me. You okay? It's like, yeah, I'm okay. So his mirror is now in pieces because it hit me. Right. Like he has no rear view mirror anymore because I destroyed it on the driver's side, or not driver's, passenger side. I just destroyed it, and it was I became a little bit more cautious after that, just because it's like So I went to the other side of the road because I can at least see the traffic coming at me that on
Yeah,
that side of the road.
exactly. At least you can sort of try to dodge it.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's like, oh, you fucking man, I'm not dealing with this shit, right? It's just right, but it was
Yeah,
like, yeah, but I mean, bad driving is like, I mean, as far as common sense stuff goes, it's surprisingly common that people screw
right.
up all the time,
Oh
right?
yeah, I should be one to talk because when in high school I was like hitting everything, but I didn't have glasses yet.
That,
I couldn't
so
track
so
distances.
so again, this is where that patience things kind of comes into play. Just a touch. Not,
Yeah.
I'm not saying, right? It's just like they could be able to like you. They couldn't be glad, like Lord knows.
Mhm.
I looked at
I
getting a driver.
know.
Well, I looked at getting a driver's license in the state through the United States because I'm an American citizen, right?
Mhm.
So I just gotta say, God bless America. Just God bless America. Sometimes
Yeah.
depending on what state, it's super easy to get a
Live free or
license.
die state. So hey.
No, actually, the easiest state to get a license in, believe it or not, is Washington. I don't even have to live in the country, and I can get a license in the United.
Really?
There's 3 states that does not require you to live in the country, and Washington.
Washington is one of them? Interesting.
Yeah, some of them. There's others like the one I'm going at. Like so one, it is definitely a live free or die state, and that is Montana. God,
Hmm.
like it might be the easiest place to get a license in the country. But I have
Isn't that the big
access.
sky state? I forget what the motto of Montana is, but the
Yeah,
motto of
but
New
I
Hampshire is live free or die.
yeah.
That is
So
our
so so
motto.
yeah. So some so yeah. Like depending on your state, right? It is incredibly easy. Yes, folks. I'm not saying to again. It's understanding how systems work and how you can
Hmm.
bend slash break them, right? And there are loopholes everywhere. You just have to be willing to look. I think
Hmm.
you know what. I think the one thing that truly amazes me, and this is the one of the biggest things I've learned in this time, is how unwilling people are to look. How incurious a lot of
Hmm.
people are.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. That
That
actually
can,
that annoys me a lot more than I thought it would. Like it's like, how can you not look? And then I had
right.
it's like
Yes.
how?
How
Like
can you
like
not research that?
yeah. Well like here okay, like here's the thing. We literally have access to looking at how any country does things. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter what it is. How every country does it. We can actually look and
Right.
see, right? We live in that time.
Information age. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
And sometimes it takes a little digging, but you
yeah,
can find
not as
out.
much as you might think. Like it's ironically enough, I mentioned this yesterday on my last chat. Social media is a great search engine if you let it be, right?
Hmm.
Because it has it's one of those. Yeah, there are some crazy stupid things you got to pile through, but you'll also find that people have dug into these rabbit holes for you already.
Oh
All
yeah.
you all you have to do is just look, and you can find. And these aren't like these are government sites. These are legitimate places
Right.
where right.
You can find all the laws that any domicile has. You can find, license requirements. All of these other requirements
Mhm.
are all there on the pages. You're right.
Yeah, it's all there. It's not like I think honestly, I think the dumbest thing about our time, bar none, is this: we refuse to read the fucking instruction manual.
I always do. I'm
Yes.
not one of those that don't, because if I try to do it, I will screw it up.
Sometimes that can be fun in itself. Like sometimes it is fun to do that a little bit. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you at least have some frame of
My other
references. So
half, not so much.
yeah. But what it comes to, but like seriously, what it comes down to is when you get right down to it, people would rather be told what to do than actually read the damn instruction manual.
Hmm.
and
Right.
that
Yeah.
and that ironically, I think that's the thing that pisses me off the most about this
Yeah.
time, right? It's just like it's right there. Like It's literally right there.
It's really right there. Or those that try to do it on their own without instructions
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean,
get frustrated because they don't know where to go. It's like, well, the
slight,
instructions.
yeah, slightly more. I slightly more forgive that.
Yeah,
If they don't, if again, someone legitimately doesn't know, I
right.
will not. I'll never hold that against somebody.
Mhm.
Right? It's when they do know and they would
And they're
rather
just
not.
ignoring it.
Yes.
Yep.
I hate that so much. I've come to hate that so much. And again, it's just amazing. Like I think that's the biggest thing about this time I've noticed is just as was the biggest irony is we have more access to knowledge today than just about any other point in history.
Oh,
Maybe,
absolutely.
yeah, and it's mind-boggling how little we tap into that.
Mhm. Right. Absolutely.
Yes, that's right. I got nothing to say because it's like it's so true, right?
Yeah, I can't argue with that. There's no
Yeah,
argument. I agree.
yeah. So that's the
But
stupidity. I can't.
as a writer, all of that stuff at our fingertips is awesome.
Yes.
I mean, it would be nice to be able to go to Europe and see the places that you're writing about and then have the, personal experience. But if you're financially unable to do that or, or whatnot, the internet gives you such freedom. And,
Yeah.
and, and Google Maps, when you use the, actual thing, that is awesome too. You can
So,
zoom down on houses, you can do all sorts of stuff.
well, I actually so that technology I have to admit always scares me just a touch because it's like I want to find somebody and I find their address. I can sometimes literally go and look, and if I really like if I come in at the right time, I might be actually seeing them make a barbecue from orbit. That's
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. That's actually a
Yeah.
little fright. That's a little
Like, why didn't
frightening.
you invite me for steak?
Yeah.
Come on.
There's juicy steak I cannot have. But I mean, it's just one of those. It's just one of those things. Like you just recognize like we have so much at our fingertips. Like I've had some crazy thoughts. I mentioned this. I'm either on something or onto something. It's just like we can learn. Not saying that there isn't value in the institutions and schools, but there really isn't anything we can't learn anymore. Like the
Right,
information's all there, right? You
right.
just have to be willing to look. Teachers are great because they can give you experience, guidance, and there's other things that they can definitely offer that just raw knowledge won't give you. But in terms of
I kind
knowledge, but
yeah, I kind of wish schools still had home ec and woodworking and things and metalworking and things like that, so kids would know how to cook. Kids would know how to, do woodworking and fix things, and even the automotive classes that they used to have in school. Those things, you would know how to change a tire.
so so this is my theory on the flaw of education, and this is
Yeah.
this is my theory is back in my day, looking at the clouds, I'm looking at you right now, Mr. Clouds.
Mhm.
Um, critical think it wasn't even the skills they're teaching, although I'm not saying you shouldn't. They're all handy and they're all
Mhm.
worthwhile. It's the fact that they taught me how to look for those things.
Yeah,
Right. Problem like
exactly.
the biggest thing I think missing today is the ability to problem solve. Like
Yes.
identifying a problem and then
They
just
all
looking.
want to be told what to do. That goes back to what you said before.
Yes, they'd rather be told by somebody than actually find it themselves.
Mhm.
Sometimes, and this is funny because as a freelancer now, indie author, I'm trying to solve problems all the time now. So I'm
Mhm.
using these skills I learned when I was younger, and the fact that I can break most things down, right? Um, as long as I have these things nailed down, the basics of looking at identifying what the problem is, I
Mhm.
can solve it, even whether it's how to become a more famous person. How do you do that? And be careful what you wish for, folks, on that.
Yes,
Yes, by the
exactly.
way, yeah. Versus like looking at it from the point of view of like, oh my God, it's so big. No. Just identify specific problems. The ability just to do that alone gives you a huge edge. You don't necessarily have the skills to solve those problems right then and there, but you have a starting point where to look. In one hand, I almost go like looking at my dad, not me be able to like math and reading being the big things and art as a third thing. But here's the thing, right? Looking at all three of those skills, including art, if you could you could use all those things to fundamentally teach people how to problem solve.
Right. Absolutely.
If you can do that, if you can actually do that, well, then what you've done is you've taught people how to think for themselves. And if you taught people how to do that, it doesn't matter what the problem is. Some things might be beyond people's skill set, i.e., brain surgery. I'm not saying you should do this for brain surgery. However, yeah. However, at the same token, right? Being able to identify problems and what they possibly could be. Well, if you can't solve them, you'll be able to go in the right direction to find someone who can solve them. But it's actually amazing how many problems you can solve on your own if you're willing to
look or ask the right questions. As a business analyst, it's the 5 whys. and even in any problem solving, the 5 whys, breaking it down into what, why, that gets to the core of the problem.
You have to understand what's going on in order to actually see a possible fix or solution to the problem. Right. That's how it works. All right. Nothing's like, if you keep something mysterious, well, they'll never solve the problem because it's mysterious and it's beyond comprehension or some other wonderful, wacky religious bullshit. And I say that as a believer. I believe in God, but you know what? Truth be told, I don't want to. I'm not interested in you telling me the wacky wonders like this is beyond your. I'm not. No. My experience with God tells me exactly how kind of fuck up I am, and I'm going to fix it one way or the other. That's just how it works. He doesn't sugarcoat. That's been my experience with God, ladies and gentlemen. So but all of that said, like all of that being said, I say that not from like a disingenuous place. I say that from because I realized something too. This is the downside of having a fully formed expert culture because it discourages these kinds of questions from being asked, right? And I actually, so it's funny. Someone I respected posted my least favorite meme this time is, I'm an expert. I've done this for 8 years because the way the language of that meme is constructed, right? Not right.
It's like no.
No. It's just I don't think people get this. Like one of the biggest important things about being an expert is you have to be okay being challenged.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
it's part of growth for even the expert.
Well, that's just it. Like I just something I realized. Like again. I've been podcasting for nearly 7 years. Technically speaking, if you're looking at it from an expertise standpoint, I'm practically there. I got like another 10 months, but then I'm technically considered an expert at this. If you want to go by experience, time, effort, energy, blah, 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 blah. There's still tons of shit I don't know how to do, right? And I'm very honest about like, I just know this, right? So now, my ego might say, who is this person that's just getting started doing it better than me? My ego might have that conversation. But then if that person just getting started does something absolutely better than me, then I go like this, shut up, ego. Give
them props. Give them props.
That's it. Well, that's it. Like that was my whole. That's been my whole problem with. That's been my whole.
And then figure out what they're doing that makes it that it's so.
That's just it, right? It's not like again, this isn't even disrespecting an expert. Like the fact of the matter is, iron sharpens iron. If what they're saying or believing or putting out there is real and truthful, there's going to be a path you can follow to figure out where they got there.
Mm-hmm.
And even in that path, you might disagree with some of their interpretation of data. But again,
Right.
if they can, but even then, if their logic's sound, you're not going to question that. Like at least you might question their interpretation, but you're not going to be able to argue that they weren't sincere, they weren't trying to do the best. Like there's a lot of things you just can't argue,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I so
Sorry
when I
about
saw
that. I don't know if you can hear. It's 8 o'clock.
yes, it is. It is.
our, our house alarm. We need somebody to come fix it because we lost power, and my husband
Ever
was
since
trying to
then, eight
fix it.
o'clock, it's
And
just been
every
going.
night at 8 o'clock, it goes off.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 8 o'clock announcement sponsored by Jane's Alarm.
Yeah.
Right?
At
Keeping you
least
wide
it's
awake.
not midnight. At least it's not midnight. So
Do it. No, 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 no,
anyway,
no,
sorry,
no,
that
no, no,
just
no, no, no. Actually,
derailed
no.
you.
Do you know? No, you can get the hell, fuck that, whatever. 2 o'clock in the morning is the worst time. Not
Yes.
midnight. 2 o'clock is the fucking worst because it's like
Yes. You've just gotten a REM sleep. You're like really into the dream, and then boom.
that
Yeah.
at that point, I probably would get a knife. Like I'm just savage enough to do this. Go to my alarm system, and just take it freaking out. Because
Well, that's the problem. If it loses power for too much time, it will go off, and you can't turn it off. It's like,
you can't rip it out. No, no. I'm
well, you
savage enough to.
probably could. You probably could rip it out.
Yeah, yeah. I'm that kind of savage. That's the way it. 2 o'clock. I've had to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning to go to work. Oh my god, that is the hardest thing to do is to get out of bed at that time. It's like midnight. You can do it. You're not happy, but you're not quite at that point where it bothers you.
Yeah, the early flights out. When you have to get up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the airport to get
Oh
there.
god.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm not good at that.
So what I'll do in those situations, sometimes I'll just stay up because I have this ability to fall asleep on the plane. I'm not going to fucking. I don't care about the flight. I'm going to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna leave me alone. How long is this flight? 4 hours. Beautiful. I'm not
Yeah.
even gonna listen to your fucking instructions. I'm going straight to sleep. Okay, right?
Yep.
Beautiful. It's like I don't need to hear your crappy instructions about being safe. Again, I'm not like at this point. It's like it's that early in the morning. I don't care. Right? I'm going
Right.
out. I'm going out. I don't care if the plane's got a problem. I'm sure the flight attendant will slap the shit out of me to wake me up. Right? So
Right. Exactly. To get you off the plane to do the turnover.
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
Yep.
put this stupid thing on. Okay. You talk me into it. Can I go back to sleep? No. So, but that's
Anyhow, I am expecting guests anytime.
that's all right. So we've gone all over the place as usual. So before
That's okay. It's been fun.
Oh no, you've been laughing pretty much the whole time. So I mean at the very least I've entertained you.
Yeah.
But
Well.
yeah.
Yes.
So guys, we are old and cranky and we're talking at clouds. We both hate stupidity, but the stupidity I hate is basically she's at that point where little stupidities are enough that she wants to possibly
I'm
murder. So
old.
drive. Yeah,
It's back to the I'm old.
yes, I'm old and I just don't give a shit no more. And I'm at that point where it's like your curiosity sometimes drives me crazy. And that's where I am. In about 10 years, I will be where she is. I will be mad at randomly stupid stuff that I probably should know better about, and I just won't care. But anyways, that's where we're at, right?
That's where we're at. Yep.
Yeah. So tell me about the book of yours that just came out, like in great detail, and we'll plug that and where we can find you, and we'll wrap this bad boy up.
Okay. It's The Devil's Offer. It's young adult, cusp, new adult, paranormal romance, blah, 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 where she makes a deal with the devil. And of course, there is always a price.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, it wouldn't be the devil without a price, right? So,
Oh,
I
I
mean,
know. I know. So
yeah.
I have, hold on. Can I share here or no? Nope.
You can, but what you can do is you can send it to me by private message, and I'll just copy and put the link up.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. I can do it here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, it's like we're figuring this out, like technology, ladies and gentlemen. We're good at this shit.
I'm old. Okay,
I'm
so
old, shut up, but she still likes ice cream, so she's not that old.
right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how to do this. Hold on. I'm freaking old.
Just send it to me via Facebook.
Okay, I will.
While we wait for that, folks, I'm just going to do my due diligence here.
Okay.
This very, very devilish episode of Just Joshing is sponsored by Pedialytes Golem. All right, and hold on a second, folks. I'm going to just do it. We're going to be doing lots of links here for this episode, so because there's just lots of cool things happening, coming out, all that stuff, and I want people to see and where this goes. So what I'm going to be doing is going like this. You want to check out Paul Leva's book Golem, check out his website here. If you want to check out Jenna Green, it's basically leading a kid's book, Wiggers the Well-Dressed Wombat, right? Also being sponsoring about the podcast, right? If you want more information about that book, you can go here. See, I'm good. I almost know what I'm doing, right? I almost know what I'm doing.
Yep.
And finally, Roadkill Rampage #2 is currently running on Kickstarter. Ronnie Fike Hasn't Productions is doing a really fun little horror gore thing at Mabobber here. And Ronnie's awesome. He's coming on. He's coming back on the podcast next week, and we're going to be doing a live drink and draw. So we're definitely going to be making it more of a name. But these have been my sponsors for the last little bit, and it's been a thrill. You have no idea how to do this, do you? So wherever your link is, find your link. Find your link, copy your link. Just give me a copy, and go on to All Powerful Facebook. Private message me that link, and I'll copy that link and I'll put it in my chat. Is it there? Hold on a second here.
Hold on. I've got the photo there.
Photo's great, and I'll definitely be using that when we go to the definitely paranormal romance. Definitely.
Yep, that's my website. I just sent you my website through this private chat.
Oh, okay. So you found it. Yeah, I can almost do this, folks. Almost do this.
Almost.
There we go. That is, so for more information about that book, you can definitely check that out right there. J.E. Taylor 75. Is that where people can find you too?
Yes. Yeah, that's my website. It's got all my books on it. It's got my blog. and that's about it. And I think there's Facebook links in there, but I don't remember.
So actually, just one last thing before you get company and stuff. You are hosting Spill and Ink now, it looks like, on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So how has that been now becoming, like, I guess, the regular co-host of the show?
It's good. I mean, we're doing it twice a month at this point. And I've got guests and stuff like that. So Katie and I are having fun with Spilling Ink.
Yeah, no, just like it's now it's like it's a slightly different show, and I'm not saying that in a bad thing, but I mean, it's now you and it's your
Katie.
show now. It's Kate. Well, it's Katie's show ultimately.
It's Katie's show. I'm her co-host.
but you do. But the thing is, right? Like,
I'm learning the technology.
Yes. And we'll get there one little bit at a time. Absolutely, yes. For sure. Absolutely, exactly. For sure. But no, it sounds like you guys are. You found your kind of your rhythm, and that sounds cool. And it's now a big part of your identity as well. So, Spilling Ink 2 Saturdays a month, ladies and gentlemen. You can definitely check them out. They will interview people. Who knows? They may have to put up with me sooner than later. Who the hell knows? They maybe. It's like, oh God, he's back. What are we going to talk about now? I don't know.
Yeah, I need to be there the next time you're on. Last time
Yes.
I was out by the fire getting drunk. And or something like I don't remember where
I was getting drunk, okay? I was getting fucking drunk. Leave me alone. I was having a good time. It's like, I'm not gonna report. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is Janie Taylor. She's always welcome to come back on the show. Check out her books. Check her out. Go buy her stuff. The links are in the description. They'll be in the audio description and the YouTube description when it eventually becomes on YouTube. But I hope you enjoyed.
Josh.
Oh, I always have a blast with people coming on the show, so that was great to have you. So tomorrow it's a drink and draw with Shawnee O. She shows up tomorrow night, 8 p.m. That's going to be live not just on Twitch but on Facebook as well. Drink and draws are going to be on both platforms. Monday, Rodney Fike is back, and we're also going to be drawing. So it's going to be a double drawing extraordinaire for the next 2 episodes after this. So it's all be fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. If you want to support this channel, go hit the like and subscribe on YouTube. Hit the follow button there. I'm nearing my first 100 followers on Twitch. My YouTube channel is Joshua Pentarcaresso. Click the like, subscribe, enable notifications there. My book, Alice 1, comes out December 1st. It's going to be a good one and a beautiful one. And definitely check out Jane's series. This is the last book in the series. This is the conclusion.
No, that one is just a short novella. The Dragon Dawn is coming out in December. That's the last one in the season of the Dragon.
Okay, so she's ready to rock it, ladies and gentlemen.
Just throwing things out there now. Like,
this is what you're supposed to do,
right?
Ladies and gentlemen, Dragon's Dawn comes out. Do you know when in December?
21st.
So, Dragon's Dawn, ladies and gentlemen, comes out December 21st. 2021, right in time for Christmas. Buy it.
Absolutely.
Or she'll drive you into the rotaries. Promise you. No. All right, guys. You guys have a good one.